Morning, folks. Today's edition of the town hall meeting. My mask is starting to move here. So start off today saying that as of today, 4/29, we still have no cases anywhere through any of our communities with the residents for the virus. So certainly that's another milestone. I will say, and what I'm going to discuss this morning, is that we have had staff test positive for the virus over the course of these many weeks. It's been less than 5 in total, which certainly is not a big number, but still 5 staff members. Now, I'm not sharing this to scare anybody. I'm sharing this with the residents and whomever is watching as point of fact. Again, to illustrate that this virus is real. It's out there in our communities, and we are all exposed to this risk, and our staff members are no different than anybody else. So, yes, at this point, we've had somewhere less than 5 staff members that have tested positive. We have, because testing has opened up in the last couple of weeks, we have continued to test staff members, or make staff members go get tested, and we've had many staff members tested, I guess maybe 10 or maybe a dozen staff members tested, and most of those folks have come back as negative, which is good, but we're trying to be as proactive as possible with anybody that has any type of symptoms, regular cold system or symptoms or anything else. I can tell you that, before the questions come in, I can't tell you who the staff members are, and I won't. But I can tell you it's various departments. It's not one particular department. We don't have a cluster, haven't had a cluster. It's just been reflective of what's going on. And so it's something that we're dealing with. Keep in mind, if you look at the data, the Erie County Department of Health data, where we're located here in Williamsville in the 14221 zip code is the second biggest, or maybe even the first biggest hotspot by zip code in the entire county. So I think I just looked at the data late yesterday, and we're 340, 350 cases just in this zip code alone. And then down at Gates Circle, the zip codes are smaller, certainly in terms of density, or population density more, but in terms of area, they're smaller. But the city as a whole, I believe, has 1,500 cases in the city of Buffalo. Again, that data is available on the Erie County website. So, we are within both of our campuses, right in the middle of the hotspots, even within Erie County. I can tell you that when a staff member tests positive, as a few have, we do our own kind of internal tracing and contact tracing. So what we do is we identify, okay, when did that person work last? Who did they work with? Did they have any direct contact with residents? And then we kind of build a circle from there. So based upon where somebody works within the organization and who they work with, we have and we will continue to require maybe those staff members to quarantine for a period of time, just for the abundance of caution, and then we keep contact with them through our Human Resources Department. We have required folks that have worked with positive staff members to get tested, like I mentioned, and we will continue that as part of our process. We also will not hesitate if we feel like a staff member that tested positive would require us to have a resident get tested, and that could be certainly residents and independent residents in our health center as well. We wouldn't hesitate to identify and ask those residents to get tested. We're fortunate right now, we have, and we just got these at the end of last week, we have test kits on site right now. So we're going to use those sparingly initially, but for any residents on independent, skilled, assisted living that are develop symptoms, we have the ability to test them on site. We need a physician's order, and we'll go forward and get those as necessary. And we wouldn't hesitate to work with you if you're an independent resident and we felt like you needed a test, or your doctor felt like you needed a test. We would work with you and your personal physician to get that physician's order. We have the ability to test you on site here using either Lynn Slepian here in Williamsville or one of our nurses, probably Rashawn over at Engage Circle. And then we have the ability to send that out to Kaleida Labs and get a response back. So things are continuing to open up from a testing process, and we're going to continue to be as proactive as we possibly can to test people, whether it's residents or staff members. For staff members, we send them out to be tested. So we're going to continue to be as proactive as possible to make sure that we're on top of any possible virus issues. Like I said, if a staff member tests positive, we do our own contact tracing. So I just want to reiterate that. So that would include assessing where they worked, when they worked, who they worked with, were there any residents involved, did they have direct contact with any residents, et cetera, et cetera. And so far, again, we're being very proactive in that process, and we will continue to be proactive in that process. Again, as of today, I say that always, saying as of today, but as of today, we have no resident virus positive cases. So that's a good milestone. We can celebrate that a little bit. I'm sure there'll be questions of what I'm talking about today. I'm not going to give out any more specifics about the staff members who have tested positive. I can't. Keep in mind there's HIPAA regulations, but I wanted to assure everybody that we continue to be as proactive, aggressively proactive as possible to mitigate that disease or the virus from spreading internally at Canterbury Woods if and when anybody tests positive or is symptomatic, certainly including our staff. If you have any questions outside, and if I can't answer them, I won't, but if you have any questions, you can certainly email me at rwallace, RWALLACE @echa.org. One other thing, at noon today I have a conference call with all the other continuing care retirement community providers in New York State. There's about 12 of us, and I'll hear on that call how everybody's doing. If anybody has any additional positive cases, some of the challenges that other communities are having within their local community setting, with the Department of Health, and so on. So it should be an interesting call, and I will certainly share, if there's any pertinent information that comes out of that, I will certainly share it with our residents and staff here at Canterbury Woods at the Friday Town Hall meeting. With that, that's all I have today. Have a good day. Thank you.